Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to the 18th session of Track G. Good morning. My name is Prashant Sautekal. I'm the track producer in this specific track, which is Track G. And today we have Sreeram Vennam, who is the solution architect at and we have Sriram with us. He is the solution architect at Republic Tech Services, and he is going to talk about modern data architectures. So, Sriram, thank you very much for your time, and it's over to you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Sreeram Vennam, Solutions Architect with Republic Services organization. So today we'll be going through how Republic Services modernize the data strategy and the outcome of business-driven approach driving the data strategy. Again, my name is Sreeram Vennam. I'm Solutions Architect. Just an icebreaker. This is my first presentation at CDOIQ. This platform has been great and the content has been phenomenal. So I hope everyone else is enjoying the conference here. So what we're going to talk today is a brief introduction of who Republic Services is, some of the challenges we initially faced with approaching a data solution, and our journey of how we took our learnings and improve upon it to build a robust data strategy, and also platform modernization, some architecture and technical walkthrough of the solution. Introduction of who Republic Services. Republic Services is a leading environment services provider in North America. We have about 13 million customers. At the core, what we do is we provide disposal waste services for a variety of customers, residential, commercial, industrial. We haul solid waste, recycle, and also environment services related products throughout the company. We pick up around 5 million customers on an average per year. We strive for customer satisfaction, and that's shown through the customer retention. We have about 95% customer retention, and we strive to make it close to 100. We have about 39,000 employees throughout the country. Customer satisfaction is important, and at the same time, employee satisfaction and safety is also. Our safety is 38% better than the industry average, which is phenomenal. Our engagement score talks to how satisfied our employees are, which is at 84, which is again quite phenomenal to the industry. We are the 5th largest in terms of vocational fleet in the country. So we have about 16,000 trucks servicing our customers, 71 recycle centers, and about 200 landfills, 77 renewable energy projects that are converting energy from landfills into electrical energy. We are sustainability conscious. We recycle about 3 million tons of material every year. So 21% of our fleet is already powered by renewable gas, and that's increasing significantly every year. We are also investing in more renewable products like electrifying our trucks, and we also contribute to the through charitable organizations, impacting about 1 million people every year. So that's a brief introduction of who Republic Services is. So what are we talking about today? As an organization, we started investing in data, we recognized the importance of data and why it is important to the overall growth of the organization. So initially, when we started implementing the data products, the approach we took was like, okay, let's have one central team that develops all the data products, and that team works with the business areas to provide solutions. So there is a challenge there because the team wasn't able to scale to the demand of the organization. We were mostly focused around data maturity. What that means is, okay, we need to deliver, cutting edge products, invest in AI and ML, or build pretty dashboards or visualizations versus value focused, which is what are we delivering to our business partners or our end customers, and as a matter of fact, to our investors. So that's been the focus versus the true value. We were mostly concentrating on creating reports and dashboards, asking business, okay, what report do you want or what dashboard do you want versus what business outcome that particular product is delivering. So that didn't provide a whole lot of value or tangible benefit for our business partners. The other challenge we had was limited data literacy within the business organization. I mean, any dashboard or visualization is only good as long as you have people who understand how to use it. So we were struggling initially with having data literacy within the business organization. So here, these are some key learnings that we had initially when we started working on data initiatives. So where we started was, like I was talking about, we had like a central team that was taking up requirements or projects from core functional areas. We weren't even working with all the functional areas to start with. We had limited focus areas, and there is one team, centralized team, that was building reports, data integration, managing the data platform, etc. So the team wasn't able to scale to the needs of the business. The process was mostly sequential, where we gather requirements, build data pipelines, reporting, and the end product was delivered to the business, which was time consuming and not robust enough to meet the business needs. It was taking significantly longer. There was also governance issues where departments had direct access to the underlying data sources. So there was very less visibility on data security, who has access to what, how the data is being used, etc. So based on what we have learned initially, we identified four key principles of managing any successful data initiative. The first one is staying away from hype. So what that means is there are a lot of buzzwords, new things that come up these days, right? Like, be it ChatGPT, or it used to be big data in the past. There is data fabric. There is something or the other that comes up every day. So the focus is not to be influenced by the hype or the new flashy tool in the market. It's always value focused, value driven, like what value are we providing to the business? And if that particular business initiative needs this shiny new tool to be looked at, we will definitely consider that. But the focus is to stay away from that as much as possible and be focused towards a value driven approach. The other thing that we learned is use case driven business objectives. Let's not start a project just because there is a need for it. We need to back that initiative with use case and be clear on what we are trying to achieve as part of the objective. There shouldn't be any confusion on what the use case is going to benefit short term, long term, and clearly articulate how that is going to benefit customers, benefit shareholders, etc. The last one is adopting agile delivery. These days we can't have lengthy development cycles. People won't wait until the end product is delivered. They want iterative product delivery, and at the same time enable our customers to self-service rather than waiting for the data team to provide everything they need. So iterative delivery through agile methodology and self-service enablement is also core principle for successful data strategy is what we identified. So based on the core principles, here are the 5 data strategy elements that we defined at Republic Services. The first one is strategic alignment, durable operating model, data governance, platform modernization, and self-service analytics. And we'll go through each one of them in detail. Strategic alignment is very critical because we just don't want to build something without the overall objective of where the organization is going. So we'll talk in depth of why that is recognized as one of the key elements of data strategy. So strategic alignment, what does this mean for Republic Service and organization, right? So Republic leadership identified 3 key fundamental areas where we would like to excel. First one is customer zero digital, digitization of the organization, and sustainability. So as a data team or a data platform, we need to align everything that we work on towards these 3 key initiatives. And any data product that we develop should be directly aligned to these three key business objectives. So at the core for the strategic alignment, we have the data products, which is defined by data platform, data management, insights and analytics, consumers of the data products, which are closely aligned to the organizational outcomes. Combined, all these would derive the economic value. So that's what is meant by strategic alignment at Republic Services. Do we align with this particular objective? Any key project that we take up is mostly aligned with these 3 objectives. There might be instances where it's not directly related. For instance, if we are working on a HA or a DR initiative, it might not relate directly, but the strive or the focus is to make sure one of the key business objectives are met for any key business project we work on. Durable operating model, this is another key learning that we had over years, and we felt a durable operating model is very critical for any data platform or a data initiative. So as you all can see, there is a significant improvement in functional areas that we operate. We are aligned with most of the key business areas, and we provide services across all the business areas across the organization. At the bottom, we have the data platform. We matured from being a data warehouse to a more robust data platform. We do data warehouse. We are managing data lakes for the organization. We implemented data virtualization to better serve the customers and also enable agility and self-service. Security and privacy has been at the most critical aspect for Republic Services. We are investing heavily in analytics, be it AR and ML visualization, building robust data pipelines for enabling self-service and analytics. So there is significant improvement in data platform. And at the same time, we scaled quite a bit on um, how we provide these capabilities rather than single threading the development efforts. We are more cross-functional now. We have multiple teams working across key business objectives. We also enable self-service and partnership development across multiple teams. So we don't limit, okay, let's data team only work on products, right? So we enable other app dev teams to improve on their data products as well with governance and self-service capabilities. There are more teams that are contributing to the overall data growth. Business is also enabled with self-service where they can operate within their areas rather than relying on the data team for simple questions they would like to answer. So this is how we defined the durable operating model for the overall growth of the data products. The other key element of the data strategy is modernizing the data platform. And we recognize modernization is very critical at the junction where we are as an organization. And the reason being that is I talked about the 3 key business objectives, one of them being digitizing Republic services. So what that means is any digitization would start producing a lot more data than what you are used to. For instance, we started digitizing our trucks. The data is coming through at a significant pace, and the business is also no longer interested in, okay, I'm gonna refresh my dashboards or have access to the data once a day or a few times a day, right? Like the demand has been more significant. They want their dashboards or data refreshes happening more often than once a day. As we digitize, the variety of the data has been growing significantly. It's no longer tabular data. We receive streaming data through IoT devices or audio and video images through devices on trucks or at our facilities. Advanced analytics has become a thing now. Like everyone would like to know, rather than more prescriptive, what would happen if there is if there is ability to put AI and ML into the mix, right? So advanced analytics has been growing significantly, and the use cases as well. Self-service is also key to the overall success of the organization. People started to be self-service capable. There are business areas ramping up on analysts, citizen data scientists, etc. So we need to provide self-service capabilities for key business areas. Agility is also being critical, where we need to deliver data products much quickly. DevOps has become part of the organizational goals as well. So all these different things contributed to why we had to modernize the data platform. Any traditional data platform wouldn't satisfy all these needs. So we started investing in modernizing the data platform. We spent significant effort identifying what should be the modern data platform like, and worked through a couple of years fine-tuning how the data platform should look like. And we ended up in an architecture that is more agile, more focused towards business outcomes, and ability to handle a variety of data at whatever speed it comes through. So we'll quickly go through the high-level technology architecture. At the core, we have multiple of data sources producing different types of data, be it structured, unstructured, data coming through IoT devices. We have different cloud data sources as part of modernization, producing variety of data at varying speeds. So we need the ability to process all that data. So we identified 3 key patterns of integration. The first one being streaming, coming through IoT devices or any other applications that has ability to publish data, more traditional ETL where you have to extract data from data sources, CDC, which is change data capture, and we use Informatica for CDC and ETL capabilities, Kafka and Kinesis for data streaming, and AWS Glue for data processing within AWS cloud ecosystem. Once the data is processed, we need the ability to store the data at scale. So we chose AWS S3 as our data lake, Snowflake as our cloud data warehouse, dbt as ELT tool, and AWS Lambda for real-time data processing and event-driven architecture. Denodo is recognized as our data virtualization application that sits on top of all our data stores. It is working as the logical data warehouse and also governance tools for access and control. It also provides self-service capabilities. So any data access happens through Denodo. So that will be the first data entry point into the modern platform. And for consumption, we have Click and Power BI as our data visualization products, and SageMaker on AWS as the machine learning platform. This is the architecture that I would like to walk through for modern data platform. And we spent significant effort making the pipeline more robust, ability to ingest any type of data with minimal effort, and make it more pattern driven and parameter driven versus building the pipeline for any new data set that needs to be ingested. So the way you look at this architecture is on the left, you have different data sources producing variety of data at varying speeds and scale. And in the middle, you have the AWS infrastructure, processing and ingesting and processing that data. And at the right, you have Snowflake as a data warehouse, storing all this data, which is then used for analytical capabilities. We heavily rely on AWS capabilities. The platform is built with keeping in CI/CD and automation as the core of implementation. Terraform is being used for AWS deployments, GitHub for CI/CD capabilities, version control, and AWS services for data processing, Snowflake for data storage. So any data that is coming from the data source first lands on S3 bucket. And after that, it's all event-driven through SQS and SNS. An event is invoked, Lambda gets triggered to process that data into Snowflake through Snowpipe. And once the data lands on Snowflake, we use dbt as an ELT tool for data processing within Snowflake and building the data warehouse needed for analytics. We also leverage AWS capabilities for auditing, monitoring the data pipeline. So everything is automated as part of the data pipeline. Things get logged into CloudWatch, and we aggregate the logs from CloudWatch and store that information back to Snowflake. That way, we have full lineage of how things are moving from source to target. We have ability to validate record counts, latency, end-to-end, potential issues if there is any data loss, alerting, all managed through AWS capabilities. So I'll quickly walk through how the data pipeline is automated. So the first thing that we do is how to land the data on S3. So we put guiding principles, like everything has to be partitioned on S3 bucket based on what source system the data is coming from and what data set it is. That way, it's easily recognized by the data pipeline for the downstream. Once the data lands on S3, we have SNS that is configured, which is listening to the events that is being written to the raw bucket. So this whole pipeline is configuration based. As soon as you configure SNS saying, you have a new data source that is being ingested, the pipeline gets invoked and starts processing this data. Once the pipeline starts processing this data, AWS Lambda is configured so that it recognizes what type of data it is. It could be CSV data, JSON data, Parquet. We also have capability to define security governance, masking rules within the data pipeline. Based on what type of data it is, the pipeline is configured through a JSON configuration file, and Lambda understands that particular configuration file, process the data into the formatted bucket as a columnar Parquet file. Once the data lands on the formatted S3 bucket as Parquet, we enable data ingestion into Snowflake staging through Snowpipe. So as you can see, from the time the data lands on S3 till the data is published into Snowflake, it's all event-driven, pattern-based, configuration-based data pipeline where there is minimal latency. And we consciously made decisions to use AWS managed services. That way, there is enough redundancy managed by AWS and less maintenance from Republic side. Once the data lands on Snowflake staging, we build reusable data pipelines within dbt for data engineering and ELT capabilities. So one example is if we double click into dbt capability, we build materialization to manage data pipelines. For instance, if we define for any entity, if we define what is a unique key and the column for processing incremental data loads, the data pipeline understands this and it does the incremental load out of the box. And this particular capability can be used across all the data pipelines. That way, we don't need to define how an incremental logic works. We also implemented tags within dbt. That way, the data pipeline is processing the data based on business needs. It could be every 15 minutes or once a day or once a minute. But the tag is going to determine how frequently the data has to be refreshed. We also implemented data warehouse capabilities through automation. For instance, if we have to build a type 2 dimension, we specify what is the business key on the dimension, what is the strategy for that particular dimension, and we then call this particular incremental materialization strategy for any number of dimensions that we would like to implement. So we define it once and reuse it across multiple modules. So these are like some very basic automation capabilities that we implemented throughout the data pipeline. This is all good, but it didn't come at without cost, right? We had a lot of challenges throughout. We had to go through multiple rounds of optimization because, for instance, the automation of the data pipeline, we were only able to process JSON schema to start with, but we improved upon it, and we are now able to process more than JSON data. We enabled capability to automate dbt data loads. So all these things are lessons learned over the last couple of years, and we are at a state where we could automate the data pipeline about 80%. So that's a very significant improvement from where we were traditionally as an ETL data engineering team, which was spending significant effort and time building data pipelines. Learning has been a significant hurdle for the team because we have to move from traditional ETL and data management to cloud technologies. So we have to invest heavily on AWS and CI/CD capabilities and also Snowflake. So learning has been a significant, I wouldn't say hurdle, but significant step in the process, which cannot be ignored. There is still a lot of complexity in the architecture. We are in the middle of migrating from on-prem to cloud. So we still need to manage both on-prem and cloud infrastructure. So the complexity still exists, which we are trying to mitigate and cautiously migrate from on-prem to cloud. I mean, cloud doesn't come with without cost, right? You need to make sure you're managing cost. If not, you'll be sticker shock with the bill that you could receive, especially with services like Snowflake, right? You need to be cautiously optimistic on what products you're enabling within Snowflake and constantly monitoring the Snowflake costs and optimizing the workloads within Snowflake. Same thing applies for AWS and other ELT capabilities that we have throughout the platform. The other key data strategy aspect that we are working through is self-service. Self-service has been one of the key asks from business areas throughout the organization. Business is no longer interested in, okay, I have a project or I have a key business initiative I'm working on. I need help from data to build, analytics or data pipeline or machine learning model, right? So what they want is capability to quickly iterate on, build a product quickly within their expertise and prototype on it. And once they feel comfortable, they want to mainstream that particular product. So self-service has been significant ask from business, and we made quite a lot of progress in this area. Here are some of the key aspects of self-service that we recognized at Republic Services. The first one is roles and capabilities. Roles talks about who within the organization can operate within the self-service ecosystem, and capabilities talks about what capabilities are enabled within self-service for the business partners to work within. The second one is operating model. So how do we enable self-service and make it successful is defined by the operating model. It talks about the overall ecosystem of self-service. It starts with data management, what technologies we use, and who within the organization has access to different aspects of self-service. And the third one is tools and technologies. What to enable the capabilities for self-service, what tools and technologies are needed for making self-service successful. So these are the three key aspects of self-service that we are working on. So to start with, roles or individuals with skills that need to operate within the self-service area goes from left to right. As you move from left to right, the expertise of the users are expected to increase. Leftmost users are basic consumers who interact with like canned dashboards and visualization. experts or explorers are the users that are a little bit more seasoned, data savvy users that can operate within like Excel or have ability to write simple SQL statements, interact with data more than just looking at visualization tools. Innovators are advanced analytical users that sit within the business areas. They're working on machine learning models. They have ability to write complex SQL, stand up prototypes based on business needs, and work with IT and business partners to provide immediate value based on business requirements. And experts are sitting, within the IT organization. They are the enablers of data platform. They work across different roles and user groups, combine all the information and productionize or operationalize a particular product, be it a product that is being done by innovators or explorers. So experts are the ones who are operationalizing a data product and also managing and monitoring that particular product. So the model that we adopted is a federated model. So what this means is we want to make sure that the capabilities are provided across the business organization for self-service. So at the bottom, we have different data sources that are managed by the data teams. And at the middle, we have the data products, like be it data lake, data warehouse, or sandboxes. And at the top, we have consumers of self-service. As recognized, we need ability to do self-service as a visualization product. We need self-service for AML, for data preparation, etc. So based on these different data products and self-service capabilities, we identified different users that can operate within these levers. For instance, consumers can work with a visualization tool, whereas explorers can work with visualization tool and also have ability to create their own dashboards. Innovators have access to both, but at the same time, they can also work on AI and ML models and prepare their own data. Whereas explorers are part of the governance, where they interact with the community to define what are the guiding principles, how do you operate within these tools and technologies, and also manage the guiding principles, continuously evolving them, managing COPs, etc. So that's the model we adopted for self-service. The key aspect of any self-service is sandbox, where people can quickly prototype, prove out their hypothesis, and once the hypothesis is proved out, operationalize that particular use case. So in order to quickly prototype, sandbox is very critical for the consumers of self-service. So this is like a very high-level architecture that we adopted for sandbox self-service. We first need the ability to expose all production data for consumers of self-service. And the way we do that is we cataloged all the data assets within the organization and provide access to the data assets and data catalog through Denodo virtualization. Users also need ability to interact with the data directly through ODBC, JDBC in a governed approach. So as a data team, we provide guidance on how to get access to the data assets, explore through the data catalog, and once they find the asset they are looking for, they can start working on any particular data product. So data exploration is enabled through Denodo, ODBC, JDBC, or lineage that we defined throughout the data pipeline. Once they have access to the data, now they need to start processing the data, be it for AI ML workloads, or if they have to work on their own dashboard, they need ability to build Power BI reports, etc. So data processing and reporting is enabled through AWS Sandbox, which is enabled through SageMaker, and S3 is identified as temporary storage for any feature store capabilities that are needed by analytical users. We also enable Snowflake Sandbox, where the users have ability to publish their own data and start consuming it through Power BI if needed for dashboard and reporting. So that's a very high level detail on how the sandbox architecture works at the public services. So as you all can see, the evolution has been significant for the public services. The overall goal was not to get carried away with hype. We are more pragmatic. We are business oriented, business outcome oriented. We always work through what is more important for our customers and for our shareholders, drive any business or any data outcome as a business objective, provide direct impact to the overall strategy of the organization. So that's all I have for today. We have about 15 minutes left for question and answers. So I'll get back to Prashant, who's moderator. So Prashant, how are we doing on Q&A?
Q&A, right now, we don't have any questions, but I think they will start trickling in soon. But I have a question for you, Sreeram. So in slide 17, looking at the different technical components you had, so did you think that complexity was under control? Because it looks like a very kind of a complex landscape. We're looking at managing data across the whole life cycle.
Yeah, it does look complex because there are a lot of AWS services in the mix, but we manage complexity through automation, right? So automation is core of this architecture. Everything is tightly coupled, and as a data team, we don't need to worry about how all these interlinked services work together, right? Like it's a data product for the data users or consumers of this architecture. As you can see, it's all configuration based, right? Any consumer of this data pipeline doesn't need to worry about how each of these service works. They just need to worry about how to configure it. And each service is so tightly coupled, and everything is monitored and governed through CloudWatch trails. It's easy to identify if there is an issue or if something breaks in the pipeline. So yeah, it looks complex, but we manage the complexity and reduce failures through automation. That answers your question.
Okay. A good one. The other thing which I had was given the enormous amount of data you guys are managing and even capturing and managing, how are you managing? Any thoughts on dark data concepts and making sure that the data remains useful for your business goals? Any discussions on that?
Yeah. So for the business users, right? They are mostly interested in, if we look at the landscape of data, they are mostly interested in what happened like last 2 years, right? So we want to keep the data fresh and nimble and agile for the users. So previously we were, if we look at the old architecture, we were constantly archiving the data, we were moving the data around, etc. But with more modern capabilities provided in AWS and Snowflake, that can be done much more easily. We don't need to worry about dark data or data that is very infrequently used. Snowflake and AWS is so tightly coupled, we can quickly offload or onload dark data onto S3 and back to Snowflake easily. So all these capabilities that we get out of the box from migrating to cloud has enabled our end users to be confident that we don't need to worry about data volumes or patterns of data usage. We just need to worry about what is more important for the business and what value are we driving.
Excellent. Yeah. And you mentioned about data literacy as well. So what kind of initiatives do you have in the company to improve the data literacy of users?
So what we are doing as an organization is we are conducting lunch and learns with our key business partners, right? So we start with what are data assets we manage as an organization, what data capabilities that we have, be it for self-service or visualization, and what they can do within the business areas. We'll start there and we'll slowly mature them into building their own data assets, building their own dashboards, visualization, and also AI and ML capabilities. We constantly engage with them through lunch and learns or through roadshows to educate them what, as an organization, we have, because the data is so interrelated. Like, department, for instance, operations, are interested in the data that would drive their business value. But that is also driven by how sales is going to perform, right? Like, if you are selling more, or what type of product that you can sell based on how you operate in the field. So these data assets are interrelated. So educating business on how one business area can influence other is also very critical, which we show them through lunch and learns and roadshows.
Very good.
We also bring in technology experts like AWS and Snowflake to unlock some of the capabilities and new things that are happening in the industry.
Excellent. So there's one question which has just come from Doug. How do you determine if ML is a hype or a need for your business?
Again, like I said, everything is driven by what is a business outcome. For instance, if the business outcome is, I'm just making it up, but if the business outcome is to drive NPS, which is Net Promoter Score for the customer, right? We want to increase Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Score talks about how satisfied a particular customer is. And if you look at the trend these days, customers are more satisfied if they get what they're looking for instantly. That means we need the capability to provide data products that has capability to do that. And if ML is something that can do that, for instance, NLP is one of the key aspects of ML. If we can understand in an automated way what customer is asking and provide an answer through chatbot, that's something that would drive customer satisfaction. So that's how we look at ML capabilities, right? There is a new flashy tool in the market, for instance, ChatGPT. Let's go and implement it. That's not where we start with. We start with business outcomes and objectives and see if that particular capability is going to best suit to what we are looking for.
Okay. Excellent. There is, I think, one more. No, that was the question which I had. Okay. So thank you very much, Sreeram, for your insightful presentation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Looks like you guys are onto something interesting and big and innovative as well. Thank you very much for your time and take care and stay safe.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone who took time to attend my session, and good luck for the rest of the sessions in the conference.
Okay. See you. Take care.